So hello everyone, I'm Jonas, and today I will be doing a walkthrough or like a show demo thingy, I don't know what to call it, of the rotation map that I've made in UDK and the Kismet script behind it all. I will just run through the example map once. You'll probably see really shitty FPS on this because recording from inside an editor window generally lags. So basically the entire map works around the thing that if you shoot one of these X tiles, the world will rotate to make the side that the X tile is on down. So basically playing with gravity. Here is just, it's just a dynamic trigger. So boom, and it hides again. Originally this was made to, I was trying to create a sort of team capture the flag game where every player had his or her own down basically, or center of, I don't know, direction of gravity maybe. So instead of rotating the world, I was trying to create something where the player was rotating and the world was still because players need their own center of gravity to, or I don't know what to call it, direction of gravity. Basically like, you know, the Matrix 2, the I think it's just a start where people run around on the walls and floors, and I wanted to know if people got motion sick or something while doing it for real, or if it is actually valid as a game. And then, yeah, you touch the spikes, you die. And then, as you can see here, it actually doesn't work because the rotations are pretty fucked up once you die even once. But for the actual scripting, I will start from the easy part. I have a list of global variables. This one doesn't do anything yet. I have the state counter, which is just a way of keeping track of which way the world is oriented, I guess. I have a small block of wood that used to be part of my table. It's basically a dice that has the different colors written on it. So as you can see here, these are the four directions, and then there is right ways in this shot and left ways, which is green and yellow. So the states, there are 24 different states, since there are 6 sides on the die, or the world, and 4 different directions, given that one side is down. For example, I think blue is down originally, so the 4 different ways of blues is the 4 different states, so 24 different ones. Then I have an index counter, which I use, as you see here, for list stepping. It's basically just for attaching and detaching things. I'm not sure if I should have a named variable for this at all, or if it's better to just use separate ones, but yeah, this is how it works now. I have static arrow and dynamic arrow, which are 2 interp actors, basically used to get the world back to the spawning point once you die. Yeah, as you can see here, locking the other triggers while rotating. And these are the big ones. List tiles, which is everything that is this model here, the gray one, except for the one at the very start here, which is the base tile. At the start of the game, I attach everything in this list tiles over here, as you can see, attaching tiles to base tile. This is just to cut down on the number of instructions per cycle. You could do that every single time you attach and detach something, which I did in my original map. I can show you that later. And then there is list all, which contains the interp actor 55, which is the base tile here, 55, and everything else that is not one of the tiles. So all the lights and the dynamic triggers and stuff like that. And then I have the 4 different colors, which is just used to yeah, I can start with that. As you can see here, yellow takes damage. The entire top part of this one is if you shoot the yellow tile, basically. And there's a blue, there's a red, green, white, and black. And then I have the respawning part over to the right side, which I'll show you later. So if anything in the list yellow object list takes damage, turn off all of the other rotation, like the blue one, for instance. I just have to shut them off until it's done, because otherwise, if you shoot too fast, like with the second fire on the link gun, which I'm using, if you shoot too fast, you will start the rotation from a weird angle, so the world will not come out to, like the ground will not be flat, basically. So I just disable everything else. Then I move the pivot to the player position. The pivot is this Interpactor 10 here, which is a big pillar model. I'm a bit stupid for using something that looks basically the same from all 4 sides as well as upside down, but that's what I started using, and it pretty much works. So I have a compare int here. This is just to remove the cases where it's in the states where it's already down, because if it's the ground, you don't want anything to happen if you shoot it. So this is just to cut down on the steps, basically. You get the location of the player, you move the actor Interpactor 10, which is the pillar, to the player's position. This is all just to basically allow the world to be as big as you want it to, because if you have the world rotate around a specific point, the further from that point you get, the faster the world will rotate. So this just moves the pivot point to the player position. So the world always rotates around where the player is. Then I attach everything in the in the list all. So the base tile that everything, all the other tiles are attached to, as well as the lights. I can't open it from here, but the lights, the dynamic triggers, everything that moves and stuff like that. I attach it to the Interpactor 10. So the output from the access object list attach to Interpactor 10, and if you haven't yet reached the list all length integer, keep adding number or 1 to the index counter and start all over again. So this is basically just a for loop. The list all length here is something I set manually. I don't know how to get the actual length out of the list, so I just have a separate integer that I set manually. So attach everything in the list, and then you compare the state, or you find the state that you're in right now. So if it's 17, for instance, you play the matinee that rotates it from 17 to 4. And how I got the end result here is basically I took my wooden block and then I rotated it, or I put it at the position that the world would be in, and then I rotated it the easiest way. So if I open up one of these, yeah, it rotates 90 degrees in that angle. If I take another one, it rotates that way instead. Oops, that was wrong. So all of this is basically just the 24 different states. They are, yeah, as you can see here, the ones 4 through 7 are missing, but that's just because I removed those over here. 3 to 7? Yeah, that's right. 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm starting to see a trend here where nothing is quite like I expected it to be. This one should be an 8, right? Yeah, that's troubleshooting for you. I just have to go back through these. I can see it right now. So that might be one reason why nothing is working, because that way some of the states would be missing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, some of these must be wrong, but that's another thing entirely. So yeah, the world rotates in a given way. Everything is detached again using this for loop at the end, and then rotations are enabled at the end. So that's one color, and all of these work exactly the same, though they might not work as well, because some of these might be wrong again. All of those, are the same, and then there is the rotate to 0, which is basically as you die, you're meant to respawn back at the beginning again, or at another respawn point. But this, as I said before, it's actually not working. But this is how it's supposed to be. Like once you touch the spikes, I have a list of spike triggers here. So the spike triggers are all, I don't know if you can see them because the contrast is really low. It's dynamic physics volume that do damage per second 500. So they basically just kill the player. The spikes themselves do nothing. And that's the triggers here that I attach to touch. So once you touch it, you will die, and then the pillar will move to dynamic arrow. I have 2 arrows, the dynamic one and the static one. They're both inside one another right here. They're basically just to keep track of the spawn point, basically. The dynamic one moves with the world inside this room here at the same position in the room at all times, and the static one is still. So basically, if the world rotates away, it will move away from 0, but it will still be at the static one will still be at the same position in the world at all times, but the other one will follow the rotating part of the map. So the dynamic arrow will be in the basic room. So I just move the mover pillar here to the one that is in the room. Then I attach everything again, just like the other rotations. Then I have another set of animations here for all the 23 cases, because obviously if it's at 0, nothing will happen. 0 is the default state. So that one just runs straight across. I have all the different animations here. And then I move everything back to origin, which is the static arrow. So once everything is rotated back to normal, it's supposed to move back to the origin and then detach again. The reason why I haven't disabled all the other animations in this one is because if you're dead, you're not likely to do any shooting, are you? So that's how it's supposed to work. Unfortunately, something must be wrong with either the animations or the states themselves, because it's not working as it should. In my original map, I can show you that as well. It actually works much better. Don't say. So if I play this one instead, as you can see here, if I rotate and then jump on the spikes, I just respawn back at the start of the map, and this one works really well. If I open the Kismet here, as you can see here, I have the I first attach everything to the mover pillar, then I rotate it back to 0, then I detach it, then I move it to the center, attach it, move it, and detach again. So this one is doing the same thing as the other map, except it's doing it in 2 steps instead of 1. If I show you here, I also don't have the list tiles, so the object list in this one is massive, 173, and it's stepping through the object list like 173 times for the attach, 1 animation again. So I basically got like 1,000 instructions in this cycle here. It works actually pretty well, but I tried to cut down really massively in the other one on the number in the object list, but for some reason it's no longer working, and I'm using the exactly same animations in this one as I did in my other map, because obviously doing all the different animations is the most tedious part of this map, as well as figuring out how to do it, I expect. I also have one that's over here out of bounds, which is basically if the world starts touching the end of the allowed coordinates, like if I zoom out here, I made like a really big, yeah, you can see it here. It's basically a trigger saying that if you start touching this, you're starting to go out of bounds, so the entire world is supposed to move back to center, basically to allow you to have really, really massive worlds without starting to touch the end of the allowed space. I actually haven't tried it, and I don't know what will happen, but this is unlikely to work as well, given how badly the other one is. I think I just kill the player here, and like on untouch, yeah, untouch, rotate everything, teleport to center. That's the basic idea. I have no idea if it works, because I've never started touching. Like if you see me zooming out here, that one is quite massive, and it's unlikely that it will ever be needed. But yeah, that's how the maps are supposed to work. Given that I spotted the error just now, I will probably have to go back through all of the numbers and see if anything else is wrong. But again, I will just release this as is, and it doesn't quite work, and it's pretty buggy, but if you want to do anything fun with it, go ahead. If you can actually make it work, I will be extremely happy, because it's actually quite fun to run around in. Like if you just jump into this map and whoops, and it broke instantly. Oh, great. But if you start like running around, it's actually really, really funny. I tried, as I said before, I made this just to see if you get some sort of motion sickness or anything, but it works really great. I will include both of these maps as well as my text document describing all the different states. This will hopefully not be needed, because my plan was for all the animations to be correct when I kind of release it, but obviously it doesn't quite work. So in case you need to troubleshoot anything, that's just make a dice of your own, or in fact make a better model for that. You can like write the states on this model instead. That would be much easier. So this is how it works. Really simple in concept, but pretty complex to come up with the solution. It was my first example of anything I made in the UDK. I came from Hammer originally, so this was my first project, and I'm actually quite proud of it. Thank you for watching, and over and out.